what we're going to be doing today is talking to Chris, who goes by the name on Instagram as alivewithchris. And Chris has down that he's an entrepreneur, a light worker. He focuses on living with your truth, finding peace, plant medicine, spiritual vibes. And he's all the way from California, which would be Friday where you are, I'm assuming. So let me just go over to your screen, hopefully. Just a few things we're going to do first is if you can tell me how you came to discover working with light.
Yes, well, thank you for having me on, Karen.
That's okay.
I'm very happy to be here. It's amazing to connect with people on the other side of the world, and it actually works out perfectly because you're in Australia and it's 1 o'clock where you're at.
Yes.
So it's only 5 hours ahead for me. So it's awesome that we get to do this, and hopefully we can maybe do it again sometime.
Yeah.
But I started working with the light. You know, that's a very huge question, because I feel as a kid, I always did feel I was different, but I didn't necessarily know why, or maybe I hadn't found the light. It was always within me, and I believe it's within every person out there. However, I truly feel that in order to kind of find the light, you need to be someone who's willing to ask the deeper questions about life and what is out there. Because when you start to ask those questions, you may not find the light yet, but that will set in motion for you to start discovering, synchronicities or books or things like that will start to guide you more towards the light. And I've noticed that throughout my long, but I guess short life as well, 27 years on this earth, at least in this lifetime, it's been a process where every year I've learned more and more about myself and the universe. And that started with me really, looking up books and wanting to learn more, and knowing that there was so much more than life itself, and there was so much more out there. So, I would say just me asking those questions earlier on, those bigger questions, has kind of helped me to find the light.
Mm-hmm. So what was your first book that you picked up that really intrigued you, that sort of like hit that spot that was like, this feels like it's talking about me? Have you ever had one of those experiences?
I have. I was looking to my left because the bookshelf is to my left, and I know I have it here. I don't know if it's directly here. So, but it was an Idiot's Guide. At least it's the one I remember, An Idiot's Guide to the Law of Attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that started to show me that we are more powerful than ourselves. And that was kind of the crisscross between personal development and spirituality. And ever since I read that book, I started learning more about the law of attraction. And that's kind of what snowballed me into learning so much and finding my light.
And what do you think personally of the law of attraction? I think it's absolutely incredible the way it works. I've had a lot of my own personal experience, and it's sort of like, whoa, it can be freaky at times, because especially if you are just trying it out. And I remember my first book, and this is all about you, by the way, but I'm just sharing you a little experience. My first book was actually The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. And that was in a box which also contained tarot cards, which also contained all these other things that were from a lady who used to do readings. And my aunt instantly thought of me when she found this box, and she said, you should have this. And I had before that never really touched tarot or the like. So of course, because I was drawn to it, and I picked up this little book and I thought, this looks interesting. And as I began reading it, it was like it was talking directly to me, and opened up so much excitement within me. It was sort of like I had this exhilarating feeling, and I don't know whether that's what you get, but it feels like every nerve, every fiber of your body comes alive. And with this particular book, I thought, I'm going to try this out. Now, I didn't know what I wanted because I'm a very, basic kind of individual. I don't need fancy cars. I don't need all these, I can wear, like, have 2 pairs of shoes and be happy and content. Most of the time I'm barefoot. But apart from that, I thought, I'm going to try it out. So I went to, it was like, I was invited to this birthday, and it was in this restaurant, and we happened to go past this store, and there were like grandfather clocks and grandmother clocks and everything like that. And I thought, that's what I'm going to ask for. Not that I had anywhere to put one, but I thought it will manifest if it's meant to be. So I just kept, every time I give thanks for the grandfather clock, which is mine by divine right. And I was like really in the moment, in the zone, visualizing it and everything. And my husband and I went house hunting, and the realtor said there's a granny flat at the back of this house. And the tenant, the people who owned the place said you can have whatever you want in there or throw it out. As soon as he opened the door, there was this grandfather clock in there. Wow. When I got closer to it though, because I really didn't want one, it was a fake one. It had perspex for glass. It had laminate wood look, over it. It had like a screwed in pendulum, and it was battery operated. And I think, now imagine if I really wanted it. I got its equivalent, but I didn't get what I was really, I didn't really have any need for it. But I thought that was my affirmation. And for years it stood in the place. I thought, I'm not throwing it out, even though it's fake. I'm not throwing it out because it's a reminder to me that everything is possible. For whatever you ask for, it's possible and it can manifest. So, it was really refreshing when I saw your video on Instagram. And I don't even know how I came across you, but you were there, and I thought, I'm going to listen to this young man and hear what he's got to say. And it was on coincidences. And I thought, hallelujah, this guy, he's got it. He's got his act together. He knows what it's all about. He knows the direction. What a breath of fresh air. And I think I wrote you on that because I just found it so inspiring, and I thought, I've got to talk to him. So, you're probably old enough to be my son, to be honest with you. But in regards of this, I just thought I was so compelled, and that's why I had to have you on. So now getting back to you, tell me some of the things that you have manifested in your life through the affirmations or, the law of attraction.
Yeah. Well, beautifully said, by the way. That was an amazing intro and segment into your question. So hats off to you, Karen.
Thank you.
Well, because I'm in the house, my apartment that I manifested, this is what I'm going to use as my example. So I've done a lot of work with manifesting and manifested, maybe different things, but this apartment, which has views of the mountains and the trees, which we're going to kind of see here. You can see a little bit out here. So you can see the mountains in the back, the trees, you can see the sunset. It might not come in clear. I started practicing with visualizing in my head, and then also started to write things down. So I had to go through some tribulations where when I moved to California, I lived in with roommates, and the roommates were very troubling individuals, and they were a negative influence on me. And I knew that I would be able to create a lot more for myself if I move into my own place. And I knew it was expensive, but I knew that I'd be able to figure it out. So for 3 months, every day, I wrote in my journal exactly what I wanted, and I put it in the present tense. So what I said was, I would like my own beautiful apartment that I love. I would like views of mountains and trees, and that has a nice balcony. And I would write that every day because I knew that I have to get out of the situation that I'm in. I need this space to create a business for myself, to create a true life for myself. I'm being held down by negative energies. So I wrote it every day. And it was troubling because the apartments would fluctuate in price, and I was searching like timelessly, like every night, and just wasn't really finding anything. And finally, I found this one unit. It dropped in price, at least the complex did. So I drove to this complex, and I was so excited. I was like, okay, I think I want to live here. And the door was locked and they were already on tour. And I was like, okay, but I really need, if there's one unit available, I have to have it. And she's like, well, you can give yourself a tour of the complex and I'll write down the numbers of the ones that are available. You can give yourself a tour. So I start walking around and I come to this unit that's on the very end, and it's the only one that doesn't look into other apartments, and it's on the very end, and it has trees and mountains and a sunset. And I was like, holy cow, that's it right there. So for 3 months I had written this down, and now I'm living in it, and it is a surreal experience when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows you that once you can do this, then, well, what else can I do?
Exactly.
And yeah, so I think that if that answers your question, that would be probably my best definition of manifesting something, because I had the most intention behind it and I focused on it for so long. And I'm happy to share any other examples, but I think this is a really good one because we're recording it.
Yes, you're actually there. You're there. So that's brilliant. And that's what I like, is the fact that you also had a video up, your latest one, which is writing down 5 things you're grateful for. Now, the many times, like, I do this myself, basically. And one thing I've noticed is I never say money. There are so many people who'd probably, like even my daughter said to me, why didn't you put down money? And I said, because everything else is supplied, which I feel manifests that, that it's sort of like it will be provided for, So my 5 things to your video today were, the 5 things I'm grateful for is God, family, happiness, life, and peace. And I look at that as, okay, with God, anything's possible. So I don't have any money problems. I don't worry about where my next meal's coming from because it's provided for. And this is a interesting thing that my grandmother actually taught me. She was a Christian and she went to the Baptist church. And I remember her saying to me that, never think your cupboards are bare, because there's always something in them that you can make a meal out of. And I always wondered why she said things like that. It was sort of like, the words of wisdom coming from this old woman. But it was so true. And she said, never question it. Just give thanks. Every time you spend money on something, thank God for having that money to spend. And it will become, a manifestation of supply for you. She used to call it her magic pudding, her little purse. It was a magic pudding. Every time she takes something out, it would go back in, like double up and everything like that. And she always had supply. Now, she wasn't a wealthy person, but she was wealthy in spirit. And when I look at this, and I made that list, and I was reflecting on that, and I thought, yes, God is number one. Family is provided through God. Everything is sort of like that pyramid, God being at the top, and then underneath family, and then happiness and life, and then peace being the base of everything when you think about it. So without peace in your heart or in your life, you can't really enjoy what is above that, and I feel that this is, do you feel like a pyramid kind of scheme when you're looking at those 5 things as well? Sort of like looking at the last one as the base of it all, of what you need to attain?
In terms of yours or in terms of mine?
In terms of yours.
I don't, actually. I have not thought of it that way or not that way.
I think I overthink things. I go deeper into things probably than what they need to be. But I just thought, when I was looking at it and reflecting for the first time, I mean, I've written down many times the things every morning I do, the, daily quotes for the page. And that's done about 5 o'clock in the morning so that it's ready at 6:04. It has to be up on the page at 6:04. Because I look at the numbers as adding up to the 10 being the 1 as a new beginning for the day. So every day, if it's not 6:04, I'm not posting. So yes, 6:04 is my time of posting. But I always feel that behind everything you manifest is the affirmation that's starting either through your way of thinking, through your attitude towards things. You know, what you're putting out, you receive. It's like, you know, do unto others as they will have do unto you. And that is in the Bible when you think about it. So it was like the affirmations or the secret began back in the Bible. You know, that's my opinion as I reflect on it, because those were the words inside there stating, do unto others as you would have do unto you. So what you put out is what you receive.
Yes, absolutely.
So now tell me, would you refer to yourself as a sensitive or a light worker?
So instead of sensitive, but I believe that these are all just like the Bible, right? There's just different ways of saying things, stories being passed down, different phrases. So for sensitive, I am, but I've been calling ourselves and some friends of mine empaths, right? So an empath is a sensitive person. And a lot of us are empaths, some more than others, where we're able to feel and absorb other people's energies. So I knew as a child, I could always feel, right? Like if a kid was by himself, I would like feel for him, and I would have to go like sit next to him, or I'd have to go talk to him because I could feel that. So in that terms, I am, and I'm now happy to understand and have, I guess, a label and a group of other people that are like this. So I know that, you know, it's okay to be different, but I know that I'm normal in this sense. And there's others out there that are.
There's a word for it.
There's a word for it, you know, an empath. It also sounds cool too. I like that word.
Great. And okay. So what I might do, if we can, I will try to share. I don't know whether we can do that on here. Let me just have a look. Hopefully this will. Hang on.
Okay.
This is all new to me.
Oh, no, it's all good.
So I'm going to have a look at your page on, I'll just go into, okay, so you should be able to see your page, can you?
Oh, cool. Yeah, see, you did it.
I did it. This is all new to me, so we'll all have a look. And now this is the recent one. So let's have a look.
Hello. Today is Self-Love Sunday. That's what I'm calling it, because it's a time that I can just relax, I can rest, I can focus on the week ahead, and I can really ground myself. I want to talk about gratitude, which I believe is the quickest hack to happiness, and I believe is the quickest way to start manifesting more of the things that we already like into our life. So what I do is when I wake up, especially in those first 15 minutes when your brain is in like a theta state, you can actually enter your subconscious. So you don't want to focus on outputs, which is like your cell phone and things like that. You want to do, or inputs rather, you want to focus on outputs. So that would be writing things down that you're grateful for. So, and put it in the present tense of maybe it's not already happened. Like, I am grateful my career is taking off. I'm grateful for all this money coming in. I'm grateful I live in a home. The thing is, we have so much to be grateful for. And when we can realize that and tap into it, it's all around us all the time.
Good. And that is exactly what it's all about. When you're focusing on what you have before you've got it. So this is the manifestation side of things. Now, what else would you feel is necessary to bring up in today's topic about, you know, sharing with people? Like, for example, finding peace. How would you define finding peace in your life?
Finding peace starts with going inward. So it starts with your awareness of who you are, asking those deeper questions. Why even am I doing something? You know, it could be your job, whatever, because when you start asking those things, you start to figure out who you are. And once you know who you are, I think Lao Tzu said this, when you know yourself, you win all battles. So that to me is peace, because I know who I am. I know if things happen, you know, as long as I'm in control and know who I am, I can just encounter any situation and come across anything, and I don't have to be swayed from my path. And like you said, it starts with everything you put out is what you get. So when we're putting out good energy and we're putting out positivity, then we receive that back, and that's peaceful in and of itself. So there's a lot to that. I mean, that's a big question too, but those are the things that come to mind. And I've realized that it feels so good to just be nice to people and then receive that back. And that to me is peaceful, because I know that I'm putting out good. And so good stuff is going to continue to come into my life. And I know that if it's not good, those are just lessons for me to learn and ways for me to move more forward in my life.
Precisely, because there are so many people who say, oh, I've been trying to do this and all I'm getting is crap coming to me, or I'm getting problems and everything like that. Sometimes the lesson there, as you stated, is until you can receive, you've got to get past this particular lesson that is before you. And it may be eliminating the toxic people out of your life. You know, it may be a sign that, you know, from the divine, if you want to put it that way, of saying, this person is no good for you. When are you going to wake up? You know, you can't progress to that next level until you have sorted this problem out. And then you've got the opportunity of things manifesting. So what would you say to a person, you know, in a position where, say, for example, they're putting up with a partner who is just treating them like rubbish?
Yeah, that's a difficult thing. I got out of a relationship actually 5 years just last month. So it wasn't actually a bad relationship, but you want to reach out for help. You want to let people know around you what's going on first, I would say, because, you know, and especially if you're a female, there's maybe more of an endangered situation there. So you want to let people know first that people can kind of help you and step in if anything happens. But ultimately it comes down to, you know, do you see yourself with this person? If they're not treating you well, then you have to do what's right for yourself. It's an easy and hard decision. So it's a very easy decision because you know you have to do. It's a hard decision because you actually have to do it.
I think the problem is too many people lose their identity in relationships and forget who they are. And then once that relationship is ended and over, they're suddenly having this full awareness of, I have to find myself again. And the problem that they go through is that they go from, you know, instead of finding themselves or discovering themselves again, they go into another relationship before they've found out who they are. So they're taking, you know, this empty slate, if you want to put it that way, that they have, you know, removed everything about themselves and given it to the other person previously. And then they're going into this new relationship. Again, it becomes controlling because that person is now, you know, they're working with a clean slate, someone who has already been damaged. Their spirit's been damaged. And they are looking at them as, you know, the person who's going to save them from themselves. But the only one who can save them is themselves, you know. But in regards of, you know, the circumstances about, you know, having that finding peace, it does have to start within. And some people, you know, if you were to say to someone, or someone said to you, how would I go within? What would you say to that?
I would start journaling, number one. Start stream of consciousness in the morning too, because that's when you haven't had a bunch of stimulation, traffic, job, all this. So just start writing in the morning and let your thoughts flow and start reviewing that maybe at night. And that to me is probably the best thing you can do to start, because that starts to get everything that's in your brain out on paper, and you can start to just kind of get in like the flow of who you are.
What happens if they have a blockage?
A block, like, elaborate on that a little more.
Well, say they're about to write down all these things to enable themselves to go within and discover that peace within. And all of a sudden, nothing comes to them. It's like they can't, they know that they have some problems that they've got to deal with, and it's sort of like they hit this brick wall. So the mind stops providing the information, how would you feel a person could go past that?
Then you probably have to get quiet as you can, without any stimulus. So I do have one actual thing that will force you into this, and that is, hopefully you have it in your area. If you don't, I'm sorry. They probably will have more around the world as time comes. It's called float therapy. It's called a float.
Yes.
Have you heard of those, Karen?
I have.
Awesome. So I did one recently for the first time, and it's complete sensory deprivation. There's no lights. You're in like 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt, and essentially
they call it float tanks over here.
Float tanks, yeah, another word. And it blocks out all stimulus, and that forces you into a lucid dream. That forces you into a meditative state. So if you're having blockages, throw yourself in there. It might be tough, your brain might race, but eventually it'll calm down. And if you can't do that, then I would say start breath work, start meditating, start, focusing on your breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth, and just, start basic. There's guided meditations on YouTube. There's also frequencies like hertz, like 432 hertz. You can type those in on YouTube, play those in the background. Anything to get you to just calm down and not be reactive and be proactive, especially starting your day, is huge, because we're in a distracted world. So
true. It's actually a lot different now in our world than what it was, say, 30, 40 years ago. I've noticed a huge change. But one good thing is more people are starting to, and I think this is also a lesson through, spirit, if you want to put it that way, that with the world becoming so, if you want to say toxic as a word, toxic, it's forcing those who are seeking more of a positive element to turn towards spiritual things. What would your advice be to your age group and under, basically? If they want to start beginning to do guided meditation and they're a little confused about how to go about it, or, what is right for them, how would you assess what is right for you if you were going to look for this?
Well, I do feel that we need to experiment as humans. So we need to find what's right for us. And meditation could be in the form of an exercise. It could be in the form of a run. So that's a form of meditation. My stepdad, he does jujitsu, and my other dad does cycling. So these are forms of meditation to them, I feel. And so you got to find out what's right. Maybe it's getting really quiet and just focusing on your breath. Maybe it's someone talking to you. But for me, I started out with the guided meditation because that was a little helpful. It's hard to really be in your own thoughts. So that's a good start. But developing a morning routine is something I've been really passionate about lately, and really trying to express to people how important it is to start your day. Because when you start your day with like a morning routine, and I'm happy to go over mine, it puts you in a peak state. So it puts you in a state where you can be the best version of yourself, so that you can have the best day. Now, there are things that are going to throw you off and such, but a morning routine is huge for anyone my age, and anyone rather, to just start their day off on a good note. The chances are, if you started off on a good note, you'll probably have a good day. So, would you like me to share what I do? Okay.
Absolutely.
So this is, for the most part, what I do. So I wake up, I work with a plant medicine company, so you should always drink water. So if you don't have, always water, maybe with lemon. So your body gets dehydrated overnight, so you should hydrate yourself right away, instantly. Do not go to the coffee, because your body has a natural way to wake itself up. We have cortisol levels, so if we go to coffee right away, we're just limiting that. So we need to allow our body its natural time to wake up. Coffee's fine, just try to wait an hour. And maybe if you're serious about it, maybe 15, 30 minutes is all you have, but just try not to do it right away. Hydrate yourself. And then from there, I sit down on my couch. I pick a meditation, and my meditation has changed. I was doing guided. Some people say you need to do it for 30 minutes. I say at least 10. So it's all different for each person.
Now, when you say guided, are you using a external source or are you self-guiding?
Good question. I use an external source. So there's apps out there, Headspace, I think Calm, Insight Timer is a great one. You can just go on YouTube and type guided meditation. There's a ton of things out there if you just start looking. And then I meditate, and now what I do is after I meditate for 10 minutes, I put on like manifesting music. I put on like frequencies and hertz, and I write the things that I'm grateful for. And sometimes I'll do just like stream of consciousness. I'll write about maybe my last yesterday, or I'll write about just what I'm thinking of at that time, and then things that I'm grateful for and in the present tense. Then from there, I do like a vinyasa flow. So I do 5 minutes where kind of move, stretching. I do like a yoga sun salutation, kind of get the body limber. And from there, I go into the shower and I start hot and I make sure I end in cold water. So at least for a minute. And I do 30 deep Wim Hof breaths. So I go, and you can look up Wim Hof. Wim Hof is amazing. He's basically.
How do you spell that?
WIMHOF. They call him the Iceman.
Oh.
And he's incredible. He's trained athletes. He's trained people all over the world on how to use your breath. He's like hiked up Everest without a shirt on. He's crazy.
I've seen that. Was that the one in the forest, by the way? Does he go into a forest at all and do this?
He just did something recently with the group Yes Theory. So if you're my age, Yes Theory is an amazing YouTube channel because they're out there seeking discomfort, and they did it with Wim Hof, and it's a great video. You can see how they use their mind to be in cold water that should give them hypothermia, and he teaches them how to use their breath and use the mind to overcome that. So that's a good one. So I end on cold because there's no growth without a little discomfort, and it's really not that comfortable. And if you think about the end result, you feel exhilarated afterwards, and then I'm good to go. And then that's my morning routine. And then I start my day. Sometimes if I have more time, I'll maybe do like an exercise or a run. But other than that, that's pretty much what I do every day.
Now, are you holding any type of online workshops at all, Chris? Have you thought about doing that?
I have definitely thought about it, for sure.
Okay. Because I really think that you've got what it takes. I think that you could, connect with people easily. I feel that you would make them feel more comfortable with themselves. It's really important, I feel, for your direction to take it that next step if you're not already doing it, because you've got that way of approach. And I've seen that through your videos on Instagram, I've seen those videos on Instagram, and I've often left like a comment like, good job, you've done, I don't often get on there, but when I do, and I do get a chance to have a look, there's some really good stuff that you're putting out. So I really think that you should start looking at doing something like that, even if it's like a once a month thing. Because it may actually, it's not so much about subscribers, it's about helping people break that challenge that they've got in their life. And it's like a spiritual block that they're facing with every day. So this method that you're using could be very resourceful to people out there who otherwise, aren't making time for themselves. So this is like forcing you into making that time for yourself in the morning. And that's so true. We often get up and the first thing we grab is coffee, because we think that's going to wake us up. But it also comes down to proper sleep. So if you're getting enough sleep and you're waking up, some people are like, how much sleep do I need? I notice as an older person now that I don't need as much sleep as I used to when I was younger. I don't know why. I feel like I'm 4 hours tops and I'm ready to go. But then it hits me later on. I have those little nana naps things. But with you, would you say that you have a set routine, like going to bed at a certain time, waking up at a certain time, or you don't You don't work like that.
I don't know. I'm pretty. I'd like to be more consistent. Like hearing you talk about you posting at certain times.
Yeah.
I just think I have quite a bit in my life. We always have more time. So and we always can be a little more disciplined, and we always can be a little more consistent and focused. Trying to beat myself up about it, but a little consistency is not going to hurt anyone. So I think if I did wake up at the same time, I wake up close to the same time if I can. I sometimes might go into bed ranges though. And I do know that if you were on a set time, you'd be in a circadian rhythm with your sleep cycle. So you'd probably just be popping up without alarm clocks and tired when you need to be. But my mind wanders sometimes at night, and I like to just do stuff. So sometimes I also take stuff that gives me energy. So besides coffee, so sometimes I'm just going, and I can't shut it off.
What would that stuff be, Chris?
I think it's the best stuff on earth, in my opinion, because we have our company Univera has the largest medicinal plant library on earth. And
okay, so tell us about the company.
Yeah, so it's called Univera One Truth, and it started with the aloe vera plant. Our CEO was diagnosed with liver cancer, and he basically had to get his affairs in order. He was actually a billionaire with a B in South Korea through like real estate. And so he traveled all over the world trying to find a solution. And his friend was like, I drink and our family eats the aloe vera plant and it heals us. And he's like, well, I have nothing to lose. So he ate the plant and he ended up living for 25 more years. And he dedicated his fortune to bringing the best of nature to humankind and bringing these medicinal plants that are around the world with indigenous cultures to people to heal their bodies. And so it started with aloe vera, and now we have other products, and it's amazing. We basically bring science to nature, and we found actually synergistic compounds between different plants on the earth that have proven to have these benefits: joint comfort, energy at like a cellular level, vibrancy. And that's your vibration is through the foods you eat too. It's through what you're putting in your body. That's one side of it. Then there's the metaphysical and the energy healing, more in like what's out of your auras, your chakras. But it does start with what you put in your body to heal yourself. And truthfully, I feel amazing, and it's all about preventative medicine. So about what you put in your body will prevent illnesses, will prevent diseases. And sorry to throw my country under the bus, but we don't have that. We have sick care. So we just treat the symptoms, and everything that we give to a lot of people has side effects. So there'll be a commercial and it will talk for 30 seconds at the end in some guy's fast little voice. Oh, you might get this, headache, nausea, and it's bullshit. It really is. And it's frustrating. So my goal is to educate people on that. And meanwhile, that helps me make a living as well and give back and have purpose. So I love it. We went off on a tangent there, but this is what I take every day because it heals me, heals my gut. We have 3 brains in our body. We have the heart, the brain, and the gut. And the gut is linked to this brain. So degenerative diseases is related to the gut. There's a gut-brain connection. This is the seat of intuitions in the third eye, which is also in the gut too. So we take care of the gut, we actually can heal ourselves and prevent a lot of these illnesses and boost our immunity. And through plant-based diets, you're boosting your vibrancy. And when you boost your vibrancy, you attract things into your life. So it's all in and of the same and all one with everything. So it feels good to share it. And I'm grateful for you to allow me to have given me this platform to talk about it. So
you're welcome. Have you tried ASMR?
I have not. What is that?
Autonomous sensory meridian response. And what happens is you basically you begin listening to sounds, and it could be crinkling. It could be something up near a microphone, so like you'll hear that kind of noise. And if you're wearing headphones, if you close your eyes, it actually works through into all those you know, those chakras, and it gives or produces a tingling effect. So the origin of tingling might start from the top of the head, working down the throat, and sometimes people feel it in areas of their body where they've got pain. Like I had a knee replacement and I still get the pain from time to time. So because I've got chronic arthritis there, but I have found using that has also alleviated a lot of that pain without having to resort to painkillers, you know, because painkillers are a Band-Aid solution. If your body can heal itself, why not let it? You know, that's how I look at it. So with the, you know, meditation, which I thought, in relaxation, I thought maybe you might have used some of that. But I highly recommend ASMR as well. It's just an auditory thing. It's not something that is, you know, taken. Have you found that since doing that, your whole dietary intake has changed as well?
Yeah, like I reject beef now, kind of. I don't really find it like I want to eat it. So, but I made that intention too. But I also started with these supplements and these medicinal plants last September. So, and in 2019, I said I was basically cutting out beef and pork for health and ethical reasons. And yeah, I kind of just push it away now. So yeah, I think we start to realize, and we start to, once we're in tune, we start to realize what we put in our bodies. We start to feel things. We want to treat ourselves. We want to, you know, taste good. Sometimes bad food can taste good. So, but, you know, focusing on more plant-based has definitely been my direction.
Great. Spiritual vibes, which you've got noted on your Instagram account, and your Instagram account is alivewithchris. So if anyone is looking for Chris's Instagram, just have a look for alivewithchris, and it's CHRIS, which is, you can see Christopher Long is his name, and so that Alive with Chris is all one word. So spiritual vibes, let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
Okay. You're start.
So spiritual vibes is, you know, okay, we'll take Instagram, right? Someone might have a focus. It might be like plant-based lifestyle. And, you know, they share a lot of healthy foods, alkaline foods, blah, 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 right? Well, spiritual vibes just is encompassing spirituality as a whole. So it's rather broad, but it's basically tapping into the metaphysical, that sixth sense, like what we can't see. So it's the energy behind, you know, something like this, right? This is tiger's eye. There's energy attached to these stones that have been here on earth for thousands of years. This might give you courage, expression, confidence. You know, I wear another one which has a bunch of stones on my wrist. So, and spiritual, it's so big that I just say spiritual vibes because I just feel that if you're starting to get into spirituality, it'll kind of intrigue you in a way, and know that I deal in also the metaphysical, because there's people that are just kind of focused on like personal development. There's personal development with spirituality. So I'm not saying it's better, but it's a different element where because you'll get some people, if we're going to go in the social media world here, where it's like grind, you know, hustle, more of a business mindset, which is good. But I think when you can attach spirituality, which is just a higher consciousness, to your business and manifesting and things of that nature, it's a different kind of element. And so I want people to know that that is my arena. That's the kind of vibes that I want to bring off, is that, you know, it's a lot more than just personal development. It's spirituality mixed with all that.
Now, on the level of spirituality, as you know, I do have a lot of visitations and so on. Have you noticed that since you've got into this, that you've become a lot more sensitive in seeing like shape-shifting, like through, as in when I say shape-shifting, I'm actually referring to the energy of spirit around you? Have you noticed things moving around you? Not physical things moving, but it's like the air warping, if you want to put it that way.
What was the last word you said?
The air warping. So it's sort of like you can see the air moving around you in like a form, but you know, because I've noticed that when there are certain things that I might go into, like a new type of meditation, or I might try something else, and then when there's different energy levels of different spirits that are around us, because we all have spirits around us anyway, but some of them will show themselves and some of them won't. It's their choice. But in regards of your situation, I'm just curious whether you have felt that there are times where you're not alone, that you have felt that someone's in the room with you. It could be like hearing your name called and thinking that you're imagining it. It's not a cuckoo thing. It is when you begin to connect more on spiritual, you invite more of different levels around you without realizing it. So this is why, you know, now going to make you paranoid.
No, you're not.
Good. But I'm just curious to know whether you have noticed that, because when I say like the air warping or morphing, it's almost like it has a life of its own. You can see an energy or a figure within the air itself, like move very quickly off to the side. You might see it. You may notice, you know, like I see things straight on, whereas most people might see them out their peripheral. So at the side of their eyesight, they will see, you know, things moving. They might see like the little sparks of light, things like that. You know, there are some, you know, things in our eyes, the floaters as they call them, which can give the illusion of like worms or something appearing. That is in our eye itself, but it's not what is around us.
Definitely seen things for sure. I think it'll evolve. I'm pretty heightened and aware of a lot, like the sun, the lights, the trees. I see things like that. It catches my eye. So yeah, but I'll start to kind of be more conscious of those kinds of things, as you say, and kind of just be aware as they come in.
It'd be interesting to like catch up later and see whether there has been any of that change around you, because what is interesting too, I don't know whether you're aware, Chris happens to be a resident spirit of ours, and then it was so weird, like after
you said of ours?
Of ours, yes.
O-U-R-S?
O-U-R-S.
Okay, sorry. I was like, I thought you said of Al's, and I was like, is Al your husband or something?
No. We have a resident spirit in our home, and and it was weird because like I've seen so many Chris's appear after this Chris appeared in my home, and he actually guides us. He watches over us, and he's like, I don't know, he's not a guide. He is an actual, you know, he was a person who is now spirit. But, you know, it's just so weird. And I'm thinking, you know, the connection with the name Chris has just been phenomenal. A lot of Chris's have, you know, appeared out of the woodwork, basically. You know, like I'm hearing the name Chris here, I'm seeing the name Chris there. And, you know, it's all, I feel, I don't know whether it's just like a heightened awareness now. You know, I mean, Chris's has always been there type of thing, but within regards of, you know, our resident spirit, I know this is completely off topic, but he makes quite an impact, and sometimes he actually does come through my live stream. So just a little food for thought. If you do happen to hear a male coming through your speaker, you'll know that it's Chris, because he is actually around at the moment.
Yeah, I did see. Well, are you burning Palo Santo?
I am burning a incense stick. I was burning these before. the meditation one, these ones. I don't know whether you've seen these. Yeah.
Well, I see the smoke. It's kind of intriguing. It flies by the camera. And you can see things kind of in the smoke. So, you know,
yeah. Well,
hanging out with us.
He is pretty active around my home, and there are times that he will speak through live streams. So I just thought I'd let you know, just so you don't freak out.
He's welcome to speak.
Yeah. So have you felt any connection with your guides through what you're doing?
Well, when you talk about people coming in, I see a number. So I see numerology. So I see the sacred geometry like every day for the past like 15 years. So that's been interesting. And recently, I actually met with a psychic and a medium and a palmistry person last week, I believe. And so it's kind of good timing that you asked me this. And she talked about calling in some of my guides to come and bless me, clear energy. Different guides are there for different purposes. So I'm just kind of tapping in to that space. But it's
you just had someone move off to your right. I just saw somebody there. Okay.
okay, that's kind of scary, but that's okay.
I'm not trying to scare you. It is a habit. I do see them. So I just thought I'd let you know, because suddenly they were there, and it's not a very tall person. They're probably just a little bit higher than the chair, you know, the back of the chair in height. And it's like they're moving in and out. And so obviously this is like a spirit, I would say a small spirit. But I'm not saying, okay. It is a female. So Chris just said that's a female there. Because I can't see their face. I can just see their silhouette, if that makes sense to you. Anyway, so in connection with your guides, oh, they're to the right of you, to your right. So, oh, that's your right? Okay, so it'll be your left.
I was going like this to give them double.
Oh, they're on the side of the chair, not behind it.
Oh,
where your hand is up, they're on that side, yeah. They're on that side. But they've moved. So they were there, but they moved off. They moved off screen. So that's why I said they were about a little bit taller than the chair, the back of the chair in height. But so that's why, before when I said to you, have you noticed like the air warping or morphing around you? Because I could see this figure standing beside you. And I'm not saying that this is a loved one. This, we do attract so many souls when we begin to open our light, which is, our spiritual connection with the universe and God and everything like that. So above us is a veil of light, from what I've been told through spirit. I don't see it because I don't have that spirit eye, but spirits do. And that's why they're drawn to us, because the more that we open up that light through what we do in our communication and the way that we live and everything like that, it becomes brighter. So it's sort of like, if you think moth to a flame kind of thing, the spirits are drawn to that light. So, when they say when you die, for example, and you go into the white light, it's not a white light from what I've been told. It's similar to an aurora borealis. So with that moving light, if they see movement in light, they can be drawn to people, and it's not so much an attachment, it's that they're drawn to that light that is above us, so we all have that connection there. And I'm just wondering whether this one has been drawn to you through what you do.
Now, is it okay? Should you clear energy, like clear these people, or are they maybe guides that are helping?
Well, if you've not had any problems, then they're not anything that's toxic. like the other day, or actually last night, I could hear this noise over in the corner of a room. So I decided, you know, to ask them to show themselves. And I don't know whether you saw that video that I put up on the Instagram, but they showed themselves, and very, very quickly. So I slowed down the video and you can see them. It's actually like they've got a dog face. And where they were, my dog was lying on the ground, like he was actually lying on his little bed thing. So they appeared over my dog, basically. And they have like the snout and the teeth and everything like that. And I thought, okay, well, I've got an arsehole spirit. So I do have to do a cleansing of the hive, which is going to take me hours to do. Yes, I see you. So when doing a smudging or a cleansing and stuff like that, when you've got those type around, they can actually be mischievous. They can cause headaches. They can cause neck aches. They can cause muscle spasms. They can cause irregular sleep. You know, all those types of things. Or if you've got, you know, problems that are happening in your life, they can, it's sort of like they spectate. They love to see someone upset. They love to see people at each other's throat. So if you've not had any problems like that, then I don't feel it's an arsehole spirit. I feel it's more of a human spirit that's been attracted to you in some way. But it doesn't mean they're going to stay there forever. So have you had any problems?
No.
There you go. So I don't feel like there's anything bad with it. I just feel like it's curious, and your light must be bright around them, you know, for them to be drawn to you. So if they're comfortable with you and they're not disturbing you or causing you any issues, then you're okay. But we all, as soon as we begin to connect on a spiritual level, we do tend to attract these beings, and angels as well. I mean, we all have angels, but, you know, more so when we begin to speak on spiritual things, because we're sharing the word, basically. We're sharing the good energy with other people. So you look scared, Chris. Don't get scared.
I was in deep thought there for a second. I was like, whoa, sorry. That was cool. It is a little bit scary, but I think my general question would be, like, is it okay just to call on, my palm artist told me, like, Archangel Michael to clear my energy, and that's just okay to do anyways, anytime. I mean, maybe archangels are different for you, but I believe I've heard that these archangels are everywhere and you can call onto the same ones.
Oh, you can call on any archangel, and you can even call on God himself. You know, the thing is, many people have trouble with doing that, from what I have found, because they can't see them, you know, or they can't hear them, you know. So they obviously think, well, they're not there for me, or they're not listening, you know. And it's until you take your mental hands off something, like if you're holding on to an issue and you're fretting over it, as an example, and you're wanting the angels to come and clear your energies and stuff like that, first of all, you've got to ask yourself, do I have any blockages that I'm aware of? Do I have any resentment? Do I have anything that, you know, I feel is preventing me from moving forward? Because whatever that blockage is, whether it's, you know, an ex, or a situation that happened where you still, when thinking about it, makes you tense or angry, that is a block that you need to resolve within yourself before you can let that go to move forward. So every block is like a, you know, holding you back. It's like a chain around your waist. And until you can cut that chain and just let it go and give it peace where it needs, because it's already done, it's over and done with, you know, it's no longer there, then you can free yourself from that to move forward. That's the way I look at it. But if you're asking angels to step in and cleanse that, you still have to let go of that, whatever is holding you back, for them to do that. It's like saying to an angel, I want you to help me lose weight, but then you're stuffing your face full of chocolate. You know, you have to put the input in as well, you know, so the angels can work in your favor. If you do 50%, they'll do the rest. In the same with God. So I actually feel that, you know, if you're not having any trouble, I wouldn't worry about it. You know, but then again, why not just do it once a month or so, so that you can cleanse yourself? Basically, you know, do a spiritual cleansing. Could be standing under the shower and visualizing the whole body, head to toe, is completely caked with hard mud. And that is all the toxic energy that you've attracted through that day or that month or whatever. And as you stand under the shower, just visualize in your mind as the shower water is hitting you, that it's melting all that mud and it's running down the drain. And it's just removing all that toxin from your energy field. So things like that you can try as a way of cleansing, like self-cleansing. So this way you're working on your higher self through this. But you can always ask angels to, you know, okay, I've done this much, can you do the rest? The things that I cannot physically or spiritually remove from myself, I place it in your hands now to do your work, so that you can free me from whatever blocks I have that are restricting my growth, so I can do your work, you know, or work with you in the right way. And they will do that, but you've got to let go. You've got to trust it, you know, and that's a big problem that I've noticed with a lot of people, even my clients, is trust. You know, that word trust opens up a lot of different emotions with people. So when I say to you about trust, how do you really connect with that as a person?
Trust to me is your ability to open up. So it's your ability to have intuition, and it's a vibe, right? That I can open up to you, like that I trust you, and that comes with a feeling. So if people aren't in spirit, it doesn't matter, because they can feel your energy. They may not know how to process it or be aware of it. They can feel it, and that shows them that there's the trust between the two people that's forming there.
And in order to, you know, like manifest things as well, which is what you do through your writing of, you know, your things that you're grateful for and everything like that, you've got to trust what you're doing. So that would be how I would describe to you as being your trust. You may go deeper than that when you begin to focus on that one word. So this could be something that you could meditate on. You know, I really want to understand trust. And the first one I have to trust is myself.
Yeah.
So what am I manifesting for myself as a part of my trust in myself? You know, like, think of trust and say, like, okay, can I trust myself not to break my diet? Can I trust myself to commit to this one thing that I said I'm going to do? Can I trust myself, you know, because trust being the core word opens up the doorway to everything around you. And I feel that, you know, you've got it, but I'm worried that, you know, in some way you may not be trusting yourself enough. Once you do that, it's like bang, everything.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah. Well, you definitely just flipped what I kind of just had in my mind and made me think. So I appreciate that. It gave me some very internal things to process and to work through. And that's, you know, what I like to do. I like to level up and better myself and be open-minded, and that way I can receive.
That's what you share with people. And that's, you know, it's a beautiful, you've got beautiful messages there. Absolutely love your messages through Instagram. And I want you to, you know, really embrace it. I want you to feel what you're saying. And I do feel that you do, but there needs to also be that level of trust within you. And you've got that there, but I feel like in some way you're questioning it. So
yeah, I could definitely, no, absolutely. That will help. That will help.
So I feel that you're going to go a long way, Chris. You know, I really do. And I want to see you excel. You know, even if you think like later on, I want to write something, I want to write a self-help book, you know, this may be your calling, but you've got to trust yourself first, you know, because that's when your angels will come closer to you and you'll find yourself, you know, wowing yourself with the things that you bring forward just through your way of thinking. You know, it changes everything. Every cell within your body begins to sort of change and heal in some form. So that's why, you know, open that doorway, connect with it, but don't be scared of what comes. You've got to have trust in yourself to know that you are stronger. You've got that, you know, that physical shell around you, which is your castle that your soul is encased in. When you're looking after that castle, which you are, you're going to be able to trust its foundation to be strong enough to withstand any negative forces that come your way. So look at it like a fort in some way. This is your fort. Your physical form is your fort, your castle, and it's protecting your soul within it. So don't be afraid of anything. And that's why I feel that, you know, you will have an opportunity of drawing more light into your life with angels and, you know, spirit. And if you've got spirits coming towards you, it's not a bad thing. You know, never look at it like a negative, because as soon as you switch that mindset to thinking negative, what are you going to attract? Negative ones.
Sure. Right.
So give thanks for, you know, them being around you, because I feel that that's a beautiful sign, you know, to have that. So hopefully that helps make a little bit more sense to the things going on in your life. So in relation to, okay, let's go back to the work with the plant medicine. Mm-hmm. Is there something that you can recommend to people just to sort of, you know, bring the vitality levels into their morning, you know, if you want to put it that way? Feel free to share the name of the company or the products and where they can go to get these. I assume they are available online?
They are. So unfortunately, right now, it's only available in the United States, Canada, and I believe Malaysia. The company will go international here, hopefully in about a year. So
yeah, well, if they get enough inquiries, it may actually step forward and get more people, you know, interested in purchasing from them, because, you know, they might say, okay, do you have a supplier? You know, do you have someone who can, you know, who can be recommended until you actually do that internationally and so on?
Absolutely. And yes, so my website is univera.com/Chris, CHRIS. And on there you can purchase, which helps me, and you can learn more about the different products. We believe, just as you set a foundation like a castle and a fort, we set a foundation with our two core products, Aloe Select and Extra. I think my cat sees a spirit or something. He's going crazy. He did it before. I had an energy healer in here, and he was chasing this ghost around. And the energy healer, he's chasing this ghost mouse. And now when he was clearing it again, I saw him doing that, and I was like, oh gosh, here he goes again.
Well, it's funny because a lot of younger spirits are drawn to animals. They love the animals. So, okay. So it's univera.com.Chris
/
Chris. So Univera, UNIVERA. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll get that put up on the video.
And the two on there, Aloe Select and Extra, are the two core products that are the foundation of true healthcare and true vitality and vibrancy and living young. And then from there, if you have specific issues, say you have joint issues, arthritis, things like that, you can opt for Regenicare and Regenifree, and those things are specific to kind of joint comfort. And there's other things on there. So, but those are the two main products. That's what I take every day. And I feel amazing.
Yeah, well, aloe vera, that's a really beneficial plant. It's like there's unlimited possibilities with aloe vera. I had a beautiful one in my garden until it was eaten, not by me. I don't know what ate it, but something ate it and had a beautiful.
Health fast.
So, okay, so we'll put that in there as well. All right. So is there anything else that you can think of perhaps sharing with people today, Chris?
I just encourage people to connect with others. You know, when we can connect, we can raise the consciousness of the whole planet. And the more we're doing that, it's a ripple effect. So never underestimate, if you impact someone's day, that might inspire them to impact someone's day, and so on and so forth. So big thing for me lately has just been connection, because when we can connect with other people, we can build ourselves up, we can encourage people, and it just creates a community of all of us on earth. We're all the same. We're all human. So let's connect and let's be one with each other, no matter what differences we may seem that we have. You know, in all honesty, people really want the same thing. We all want to be loved. We all want to be appreciated. We all want to be happy.
That's right.
Right? So
absolutely right.
Yeah. So, you know, we might seem like we have a lot of differences, but there's no one that doesn't want to be appreciated or loved. That's just not, it's impossible. So
there's a lot of people who shut that out, though. They seem to think, you know, either they're non-deserving or they can't handle that, you know, and it's their attitude that addresses it. But you're absolutely right. That is, I mean, that's human nature. That's what people want. From the moment we're born, you know, we're reaching out to somebody and looking for that affection and that kindness, you know, and empathy. So absolutely spot on. Well, Chris, it has been absolutely lovely talking to you today. Thank you very much for joining me. And I really do hope that more people get to have a look at your page on Instagram and subscribe to you so that they can see your daily messages. I don't go on there very much, but when I do, you know, I try to have a look at the people I subscribe to. Let's have a look here. Oh, and so you actually went to Netherlands, did you? I'm just having a
it was.
I
was there. Yeah, it was great.
So what did you do there, just very quickly?
I went with my family, and we went to like a cool amusement park. We watched a soccer game, which is like a bucket list moment. We walked around Amsterdam, went to another city called Utrecht, and we just had fun, enjoyed life.
Beautiful. Now, is there anything else that you can leave people with today? A little message that you would like to share that you've discovered about yourself or discovered about life in general?
Well, love is the strongest energy and frequency on earth. And you're either living in fear or you're living in love. So choose to live in love and work on it. And I speak for myself. We all are always working on it. And notice when you switch out of that state and, you know, radiate love from your heart. And the same thing has to do with connection. When you come across people, just feel like you love them. You don't even have to say it. So, and love is very, very strong. It will trump anything out there. So never underestimate the power of love.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much once again, Chris, for joining me, and I will get that link sent to you so you can share it, or you can do with it what you will to inspire others about what you're about as an individual. And I just am so proud to have been able to have this moment and able to talk to you. You're a great inspiration for your age, and I really do wish you the best and hope you go a very long way.
Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate you a lot too, and it means a lot that you wanted to bring me on your channel.
You're welcome.
At the start of my journey, really. So, and giving me that foundation and yeah, it was maybe about me, but that was selfless on you, and you taught me lessons along the way, and I'm excited to watch it back, and maybe I'll see things that
You never know. Just begin to listen to that trust within yourself, and anything is possible, because as they say, we are all godlike as well. God is within us. He's not ignoring us. He's actually within us. So how can he be absent from our life? We are in his image. But the external is not his image. It's our spirit that is his image. So I send you many blessings, and your path may it open doorways that you never imagined. So you take care, and I'm going to go now, and I will catch up later on, and hopefully we can sort of like do a catch up later and see how you.
Hopefully I can come to Australia, because I haven't been to Australia, so I really want to go. Lastly, where are you about? Whereabouts are you in Australia?
In Sydney. Sydney, in the middle of Sydney.
Wow, that's awesome. I'd love to go there. I will.
It's very expensive, I can tell you. It is a very expensive city. So bring a lot of money.
Not cheap here in Southern California, which I'm sure you know too. So
Yeah.
but they're both beautiful places, and I see myself visiting one day. So maybe we'll connect in person.
Absolutely. Well, you take care, and I'll catch up later on.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.